Hi, and welcome to the first voiceover for the Marketing a Business module. So I'm James Watt, and I will be guiding you through this. It should only take about 3 or 4 hours, I think, maybe 4 or 5, depending on how long I can talk. But I'm only kidding. But at any point, feel free, just pause it, move away, get a coffee, come back. So just want to try and move through things quickly as possible. Underneath this, you'll find some notes, extra notes that are written here. So, if you want to expand on some of the things I'm saying. So we're going to look here at the marketing concept. There's a textbook, Dib Simpkin, Pride and Ferrell, or Dib et al. When you come to cite it in an assessment. That's the 8th edition. Other editions are available. And that's what the quizzes are based on for the assessment. So let's get through this. This one it's an introduction to marketing lecture. Beginning here with the Chartered Institute of Marketing, just as you get chartered accountants and chartered surveyors, there's a professional body for marketing as well. And let's look at their definition. Now, it's a management process. Hang on, I try to grab the mouse. Yep. It's a management, just got out, management process. So manager, it doesn't just happen. And they identify, they anticipate, and they satisfy customer requirements. Now, identifying what's going on, later on, we'll look at the external environment, trying to make sense of what's happening out there in political, economic, social terms. And you can see that by anticipating when you're going with your gut feeling, etc. And you've got to satisfy customer requirements. And look at this, profitably. You've got to make money, right? You've got to justify yourself. Now, there's a link to the Chartered Institute of Marketing website. And of course, I know they have professional exams. I know you're not exactly in the mood for more coursework just now, but later on, this could be, if you choose to go into marketing, professional body, that could help guide you through the years. So that's the definition. And more or less, the American marketing one has the same definition as well. So identify, anticipate, and satisfy customer requirements. Peter Drucker here, I presume that's him. I have no idea what he looks like. Look at what he's saying here. Now, you can read that as I'm rabbiting on, but he's talking here, business, 2 functions, marketing and innovation, right? All the rest, finance people, HR people, production people, waste of space. Nothing personal, you understand here, but the idea is it's marketing and innovation. Okay, he'll probably be biased, from a marketing viewpoint. He says people need to come up with new products, and it's marketing, it takes it forward. So it's a distinguishing, unique function of the business. Now, I like this quote here. The aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. Okay, good Scrabble word that. So, in other words, it sells itself. Now, you try and think, this would be what I would say. Hey, pause and think for yourself. What things do you buy automatically? You don't need to be sold them, right? You just automatically go to it. If you go to Florida, it could be Disney World. If you go, it could be a sports event, sports team, could be a music thing, could be Sky, whatever it is, you buy it anyway because you want it. They have the product you want, right? For me, Irn-Bru, Barnes Irn-Bru. Irn-Bru could have the worst advertising in the world or no advertising. I would still buy it because that's a product I want. Dr. Pepper, on the other hand, oh my God. No offense to anyone who works for Dr. Pepper, right? So you get the idea, make selling superfluous. Boring alert here. This is the stuff. It's all in the marketing textbooks. They always begin with something dry, and it's talking about exchange, and it's saying for an exchange to take place, pause me and read these things here. It's just saying you've got a buyer and a seller. They've got money. They've got something. You try to sell them something, and they've got money or credit or donations or whatever it may be. So, and what it's saying there, point 1, got to be 2 or more. They've got to have something they possess, they value. You've got to give something up in exchange and communicate that you've got something, blah, 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 right? These are the sort of things that all the marketing books have anyway. So a buyer and a seller, got that? Good, move on. Now, these are all things that people think marketing is all about advertising. Oh yes, the thing they see a few adverts and they become an expert. Yeah, advertising is important, but in this module and most modules, we'll deal with it for about 2% of the time. All these things you see here, right? We'll be, marketing research, market segmentation, we'll be teaching, we'll be looking at them, packaging, product life cycle, branding, pricing, all of these things, customer care, And then down at the bottom, yes, marketing communications. And look, if I could work this mouse properly, advertising's in there, personal selling's in there, but so are all these other topics as well. So it's more than just advertising. And what's marketed? Anything and everything. Services, products, events, experiences, people, places, and ideas. And you know, the idea that when marketing started, you know, moving in, it would be about cars and fridges and carpets, a physical product. But then it would move on to services, you know, retailing, financial products, etc. And you think about it, cities market themselves, events, you know, whether it's the Commonwealth Games or Tea in the Park, which is no longer with us these days. And people, politicians, always trying to get their, you know, their view across here. Ideas. Brexit is an idea which took root and was voted for. Scottish independence is another one. So all of these things, anything and everything can be marketed. And look at these books here. You know, these are all actually in UWS Library, I believe. Retail, churches, sports, sustainability, you know, arts, all of them. Now, they'll all have at their heart about meeting customer needs, but they'll go about it in a different way, emphasising different things. So these could be useful if you're interested in them. You know, it could be a possible dissertation topic if you do that, I'm not sure. So there's a wee bit about the myths there. If you look at this comes from the Dib Simpkin book. So what do people think, right? They think it's about selling, right? People, yes, marketing's about selling. I'm getting worse with this mouse. Our marketers persuade, you know, they persuade you to buy something you didn't really want to get in the first place. That dealers' profits, you know, increases price, and marketing depends on advertising. So all of these things here, you know, that's what people say. And look at the one which is at the bottom, strategic planning has nothing to do with marketing. You know, and people are saying, no, I don't think so. You know, so in fact, that's strategic planning is important. You have to remember that marketing quote. Marketing management, it's a process of anticipating, identifying, etc. So these are myths, but people think they see a few adverts, they've seen a salesman, they know what marketing is. Hopefully during the course of this module, you'll learn it's more complicated than that. Now, at this point, you could maybe stop me and go to the first Moodle quiz. Now, there's a lot of quizzes based around this. Now, the idea here is the voiceovers are like the entertaining parts. No, it's not very entertaining so far, but they're the entertaining parts. And the boring stuff is in the book. So I'm doing jazz hands just now, if you can imagine that. So it's to get you interested in the topic. So you hear the voiceover and think, oh, yeah. But you go to quiz and there's more information there. Now, do these quizzes. I've broken them up, part one, part two, but repeat it as often as you like, because remember, there's an assessment coming up, multiple choice, and you know, questions can come from here. So, of course, there can be a mismatch between some of the questions and the lecture, but don't worry about that. It's about learning. So log in with your banner ID and password, click in the link, it should take you. If it doesn't, then go to, you know, type in Google Moodle UWS and it'll take you there. So that's the first quiz there. It's very quick, number of questions. So I'll wait for you to come back. And you're back. Okay, right. Now what we're going to look here is this. Key concepts or eras, or how we like to say how marketing's evolved, right? So three main concepts during certain time periods. Now, we're not talking here about, you know, January the 14th, 1947, generally speaking here, right? So we're looking at the production concept, production era. It's just a way of thinking. And it's also looking back. When you look back, you think, actually, look at this. There was a sales era from the 1930s to the 1960s. And then the marketing era, 1960s, 1990s. Now, depending on what book you pick up, they've all got different takes on this. And it's just to show you that it's just an idea. But I think Dib Simpkin has relationship marketing era. Other books have got different things, but don't get hung up. It's just the key areas we're looking at here. So we're going to look at these. We're going to look at what the production way of thinking is, and the sales way of thinking, and the marketing way of thinking. Okay, so begin with the production concept. Now, mass production, industrialization, everything, building factories, making things quicker, better, you know, heavy engineering, making things like this, and bringing down costs. Now, this is an important point. It assumes people always buy the best product, okay? You always buy the best product. And firms were good at what they were making, well, naturally. So, but you think about the best product. Do you always buy the best product when it comes to clothes? Have you been in Primark? Have you bought from Primark? Do Primark have the best clothes? No. But do you buy them? Yes, because it's value for money, right? So you could say, well, there's Gucci and there's Armani, and of course, dressed head to toe in Primark, in Gucci. So these are the things that, you don't always buy the best product. I think I've got an example in the notes under there. Let's admit, they're not the best football team, but they have core supporters there. So, but this thinking, always people buy the best product. Now we've got here the better mousetrap fallacy. And the idea is Google this, someone would say, whoever builds the best mousetrap will be an assured success because people will love it, right? And what it's saying is, because obviously maybe rodents in the house, not a good thing. So you would get this, but that's not true, because first of all, what if it's too expensive? What if you know it exists, but it's too far away, there's no distribution? What if you don't even know about it at all? No, because the company hasn't advertised it or communicated to you. So you might not know about this product, could be too expensive, could be too far away, or it may be too cruel. Maybe you might think, you know what, let's just get a cat instead. Actually, just as I'm looking at this, I saw a video, Google this, they've got mouse, a plague of mice in Australia. Seriously, look at it. You'll never sleep at night, actually. So, sorry, better cut this one out. And of course, recognise the movie there. It's not impossible to guess. So you get the idea. People don't always buy the best product. They might think, I'll get a cat. Now, within this production concept, they're still thinking, if the product's not selling, then it's because of two reasons. First of all, customers are stupid, hence the picture, or your sales force are inefficient. So, and you see now, maybe the thinking is here, well, maybe we should get better salespeople. So there's a gradual shift where the role of the salesperson becomes important, right? But it's not done from, they're still thinking, we've got the best product, people will always buy it. Not the case. And you still get firms like this today. So let's look at the sales concept. And for people of a certain age, you'll recognise Arthur Daly. Now looking back, for these companies, it's all about the sale, right? Like a double, like a used car salesman here. So it's not about being efficient, you needed to sell them as well. So being good at making the things and being good at selling them as well. Had to be a sales angle. You might read in some books, unique selling proposition, right? And it's held up as a holy grail. Everyone has to have a unique selling proposition. Well, not really, but USP, it's good to know about it anyway. So you somehow the sales force is becoming more important. They need incentives, they need motivation. And it wasn't about the long-term approach, it was just about selling. Get the sale, move on, right? So, and you think about a used car salesman, they get a bad reputation for selling dud cars. Not all of them, but some of them. So, and if you look at this here, Pause Me describes the what do you call it? The selling the timeshare, that's it, right? And it talks about a hot room, salesman selling a product, a more senior one comes in, giving alcohol. This is in holiday, they've been taken away, they're not virtually locked in a room miles from anywhere, and it's aggressive sales practices. And, the salesman could sell snow to Eskimos, and that's unfair. And salesmen persuade if it's right for you. But these guys, they want to make you a sale regardless of whether you need it or not. Do they care if you've not got the money? No. As long as you can pay something and you take out a loan, that's your problem. But so these ideas, timeshare, even double glazing had a reputation like this, encyclopedias, people, they just want to sell you the product and move on. That's it. And of course, PPI, right? This was when it was a different PPI, but personal payment insurance and mis-selling. And these are outdated figures, but what it cost the banks because they sold financial schemes. And of course, it wasn't the first time they'd done it. They'd done it with pensions way back in the 80s. So there's a story, mis-selling scandal. Look on this. It happens all the time. They just don't stop to think, is this right for the customer? There's of course, we've got the UWS YouTube channel, the marketing channel, and a lot of videos on there, search around them. But this one's from the Tin Men, a good movie, and it's, of course, it's fiction, you know, it's a movie, but it's based on what salespeople were like. They weren't to be trusted. And there's the example's very good. It's, we would say aluminium, but in America it's aluminum. So watch that one, where the sale is all that matters. It's also a good movie. So we've got some firms, you know, we've moved on, we have to focus on the product, and then it's the sale. Now we start to look at the marketing concept. Remember, what's his name from the beginning? That guy, Drucker. The aim is to make selling superfluous. So selling's about the seller, marketing concept, the buyer. Selling is about, you know, getting money. We've made the sale, great, that's profit. Marketing is the idea of satisfying the needs of the customer. And this is what we're going to look at in subsequent, you know, topics about all the things that are in the product and the price and the promotion, all these things there. So this is where we're shifting, saying, actually, we need to be more long-term. So, and that's what I just said there. It takes a long-term view, a lifetime value, okay? These are just quotes about, you know, sales and production. You look into the mirror, you see yourself. Marketing concept, you look out the window. You know, the idea, you look out the window, you see the customer. I'm looking out, seeing it's raining, which is no surprise here. So this is important. Marketing is a philosophy of business, right? As well as a function. There'll be a marketing department, but you think customer, how will this affect the customer? How will they react to it? All the time you're thinking about the customer, right? And the customer is at the heart of all decision making. Now we're looking at the live pictures, Toys R Us, British Home Stores, BHS, Blockbuster, Woolworths, all gone, right? They might be floating around in some way. There's one Blockbuster left in America, I believe, but in all of these cases, yes, they were a success, but not now, because times change, right? And maybe they look back and think, we should have done that. So this is what we're saying about marketing. If you want to be long-term, you know, not just that they sell to them once, they come back time and time again. So, and it also recognises you've got choices, right? So we've all got choices, where we go to eat, what we watch, what we consume, what we buy, you know, and we have a lot more choice than, say, parents or grandparents had way back, you know, then. This is just to point out, this is marketing myopia. I have put on now, one of the pieces of advice I have to you is register for Harvard Business Review to get 6 free, I think it's 6 free articles a month. And the thing is, keep getting them, even if you think that looks interesting, but you're not being taught it, download them, make use of them, because they'll be used throughout your time here as a student. You wrote a paper in 1975 talking about marketing myopia, short-sightedness, okay? And in it, he was saying how, like, the railways, they thought they were in the railway business, but they weren't. It was about the transportation business, okay? So the customers didn't care if they were in a train, a plane, a car, or even a boat, as long as it got them there in a certain time. So he talked about how the short-sightedness, and it's a good article. I don't know if it's in the HBR list, but, you know, you can get examples. I think I've got a copy somewhere if ever anyone wanted one. Don't tell anyone. So it's a good read, and this is where they're saying short-sightedness. And I don't think that dog is wearing real specs, honestly. I don't think there's any glass in that, because frames are too big. Anyway, so Kotler, you know, Philip Kotler, we'll come to him later on as well. In fact, you'll have saw him pop up in the marketing quotes if you've watched them soon first. So he said he's a guru of marketing. You'll see a video of him later. So he talks about 4 key areas. First one is your target market. We'll be looking at that in a few lessons. Then look at the real needs of the customers. What they actually need, not what they say they need. The picture there, Homer Simpson. Homer had to design a car. So Homer designed the car that, you know, he thought Americans needed, but it's not like that. And then Henry Ford, you know, if you ask people what they want, they just said faster horses. So sometimes, we don't know what we need, and we don't say it the right way. Can you imagine if you were looking back, if you give a 17 or an 18-year-old £10 million, you think of the cars and how they might, I was going to say waste it actually, but if you give people money, would they spend on an education? Would they spend on investment, or would they waste it? Right? Because for example, what you need is an education, and you probably need fast cars as well. But so that's probably a stupid analogy. I'll shut up now. But do you get the idea? Is what they need, not what they say they want. And integrate all marketing activities. That's the last part of the course. We come to the marketing mix, bringing it together. And look at this, make a profit, which was mentioned by the CIM. Remember, you've got to, make a profit, because, you're not a charity, and even charities have to cover their costs. So these are alternative definitions. Just, customer is king is a bit sexist these days, so I should change that to the customer is a royal ruler. I like the one, judge, jury, and executioner, right? They'll kill you off. You don't do it, boom, you're gone. Marketing is making what sells, not selling what you make. You ever stop to think, actually, is this what people want? Just because for some reason you're making it, maybe we need to change. This one here, you all must have heard, the customer is always right. Now, I think this one comes from it's an American retailer, Stu Leonard. I'm not sure if it's STU or STEW. Stu Leonard, right? And every store, they had this, literally a granite stone, which the customer is always right. Now, the background to this is that the customer came in and said, oh, I bought eggnog. I have no idea what eggnog is. It sounds disgusting. And it's off. And the guy, the salesperson, the shop worker said, no, it's fine. And they go to the supervisor, and the supervisor says, no, it's, oh God, there is Stu Leonard's there, for heaven's sake, how stupid. I've been saying that for years, I don't know how to spell it. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, you can always pause me until I remember where I am. Yeah. Supervisor, it's not off. The manager, not off. Right, senior manager. So they're all saying to the customer, you're wrong. The guy goes away, never comes back. And they realise, wait a minute, that guy would come in here every week, spend $100. In a month, it would be $500. In a year, it'd be over $5,000. In a lifetime, we're talking about 50,000, 70,000. And they've lost them because of that $2 eggnog. Okay, so that's the idea. But anyone who's ever dealt with customers would think, is that always true? But it's an attitude. The customer is ever wrong, read rule 1. So that's what happens. Now, is the customer always right? Well, there's a link there. The customer's always right. So think about that there. These ones here is just some examples, football ones. I think the player there at the top, he signed for a Moscow club, Zenit St. Petersburg, and for one of the African players, and their own fans were booing him, giving him racial abuse. So you'd have to look at your fans and say, you're out of order. But do you turn, fans are fans. The one down here is a Israeli team, Beitar Jerusalem, who had also a sort of strong Jewish identity or strong Israeli identity, and they signed 2 Muslim players for the first time, I think from Europe. And of course, if you go into YouTube and see this, their fans walk out, entire stadium walking out because they've dared do this. So in some cases, you have to say, no, that's not right. That's not right at all. Sometimes your customers are wrong. And the other one, poor picture there of views, but it's like, why you need to view your students as customers. Are students customers? Because you have to do what you have to do. The quizzes, you have to do the activities, you have to prepare, you have to read, you have to study. So if someone comes back and says, oh, I didn't like that, do we have to take that on board? Certainly at UWS, we're always looking at ways we can improve. But is a student a customer, right? Think about it. And this is the one, different books will mention different things here. So relationship marketing area. So this is moving on from the marketing concept. Instead of a transaction, you give me money, I give you something. Remember the exchange thing slide at the beginning? Again, it's a lifetime value, but it goes beyond this. It's, Chef and Saruria, long-term, mutually beneficial arrangements in which the buyer and seller, why am I saying this? You can be reading this, right? It's about value enhancement, right? And even now, I believe that IKEA are wanting you to bring back old furniture. They're looking to strengthen their relationship with customers, not just use it, bring it back. I don't know whether they'll buy it or give you price offs or something else, but it's about recycling here and a more satisfying exchange. So a win-win situation here. And the idea is it deepens the customer's trust in the brand, increases the brand's understanding of the customer. And if you remember the marketing quotes, one of them was that Nissan said, God, we don't know our customers. So this is going beyond just, customer is always right. And it's also about relationship with suppliers, distributors, agents, and government, everybody, right? So what's in this relationship? Now we touch upon this in the next one here. This is from Kotler. It's the same thing, but he talks about holistic marketing, right? So, and the idea is internal marketing. So in this one here, it's not just the marketing department. I've lost my mouse. Hang on. Oh, there it is there. So he talks about how, the idea that marketing is too important to be left to the marketing department. So you bring it in with, so I lost my train of thought here. I looked at the clock there and it said 15:45, and I thought, I think I've been speaking more than 50 minutes. That's the time. And I'm rambling, so I'll shut up. So anyway, internal marketing, other people are involved as well. So in UWS, the admin, the libraries, the cleaners, the catering, all can make, obviously lecturing is important, but there's other factors at play. Integrated marketing, we've mentioned, Kotlin will coordinate this, we'll come to that. There's the relationship marketing, your customers, all the people in there you work with. And look at this one, performance marketing. You've got to measure it. You've got to measure and see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So the key point we're trying to make here is that marketing's evolving and people are looking back and saying, is that what it is? Right? And maybe we've not got it right. There's a lot of articles saying, what is marketing for? This one, Stephen Brown, he actually wrote a book about Harry Potter's brand magic. It's a great book, basically the marketing of it. And it's the idea of postmodern marketing. In other words, we know we've been sold to it. We're a bit suspicious. And the idea is this: old models are no longer applicable in the modern digital age. There's a link to the Drums story there. The Drums are marketing advertising magazine in Scotland. So this idea of broad generalizations, if you look at the things here, instead of marketing one-to-many, it's now one-to-one. You've seen it there. You go and Google something, and next thing you're reading something and the adverts pop up for the thing you've been Googled. So broad generalization, individual here, static is now interactive. Instead of the old media, it's the new media. A lot of this is jargon. You don't need to remember it. It's just the idea that marketing is changing. Okay, if you're doing accounts, that doesn't really change. If you're doing HR, that changes. But a lot of things don't change. But marketing, where are we? What's the sort of thing we're looking at now? So don't just think you know marketing because you do this module. It's evolving all the time. So to sum up these notes here, it's not just about advertising and selling, right? Focus on the customer. And yeah, some firms still focus on the product. Some firms focus on the, but you'll always have them. They don't care. You think about these. If you go as a tourist abroad and you're in say it's in Venice or Rome or something like that, these cafes, they know that the bulk of their customers are here today, gone tomorrow. So if they don't like the food and the service, you're going to complain. There'll be another person along tomorrow. But the customer, always thinking the customers should be at the heart of your decision making. And marketing is too important to be left in the marketing department. And that's true. It goes beyond the marketing department. Now, a list came from, I think, Hutchins' book there. If you look at this, marketing requested at sales, engineering, data processing, service. If that's what the customer wants, give them that. Okay. Now, you can go now to quiz chapter 1, part 2. So there's a few more questions in this. Again, work it through, add it on the information, repeat, keep going back. You can do as many times as you like till you get it right. So that's clicking the link there, that link there. Hang on, I keep losing this pen. There. Takes you to chapter 1, part 2. And also this is something here, match up activity. It's a new thing I've done. I used to do this in class, try doing it in Moodle. It's a Zoom didn't work. So gives you the quote, you have to match up the term with it. This is the first one I've made up. I've got a bit better with them, but so clicking this, it's a match up exercise. some of the terms can be a bit vague, but repeat again as many times. And I was running out of ideas when I thought match up. So sorry about that. So that's another activity you can do. And this one here on the Google, not the GA site, yeah, Google site, whatever, there's a video, Kotler on marketing, right? Now, what it is he's given a speech at the Chicago Humanities, and it's excellent. It really is. You learn more from him than me ever, right? I know, just being honest. The first 3 minutes you can waste, right? You can put in a wee chunks here, but what you do is watch a video and then there's questions that go with it, right? Just wee actions. Now it's a Google quiz, so I'm not, they're a bit tricky, but so look through that to see how you go on with it. But it's very important, it's very entertaining, it's very good. The only thing I'd say is towards the end, this question summary is not that important. The last section, marketing and jobs, the death of demand, a wee bit meh. Okay, so thanks for listening, and I hope I didn't put you to sleep. Okay, cheers then.